Hello, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button, and I'm here with a flip through for a video that I've done a short on, but I've not actually done a longer flip through of this video. And it is, if you watched my Christmas plans video, I said I wanted to make a paper bag journal, and we made one for October. The October one is going to be archived somewhat, because next year I'm going to have a UFO series where I finish off or work on things that I've started and not finished. So it will go into that, and it will get finished, because there's a couple of other projects that I want to do. So it's not going away completely, but it is being archived, because it just sort of has it has feelings and emotions around it, that journal, just because I got ill when I started making it. Yeah. But this one doesn't have anything like that. In fact, this journal came together relatively quickly. I think I made it in like an afternoon and an evening, because it didn't take long at all, because I've built my stash up full of stuff, and it was just literally a matter of pulling things from my stash, and I'll explain about that as we go through. If you're new to the channel, I make junk journals and a slow stitch. I also paint furniture, but I don't think I'll do that on YouTube. I don't know, I might do if I need to. But I like to repurpose and recreate. I don't like to use single-use craft items. I mostly like to rescue things that were going to a landfill and repurpose things. And even the front cover of this journal that's made from an old shopping bag, I can see bits from magazines. I can see repurposed napkins and tissues. I can see bits that have come from a 1920s children's book and other vintage books. So, you know, like there's all kinds of things going on just on the front cover that sort of represent the sort of things that I like and the things that I like to do. So this bird is a napkin that's been stuck onto, it looks like an index page, probably from an atlas. So it's already got that layered look. I love that sort of layered look. This is just from a magazine, and I've stuck, it had a butterfly on it, but I stuck one of my stamped butterflies. So yeah, it's got a signature, so it's got some sewing in it, and it's just bound together with some lovely brown, sort of quite a lot of, I think I doubled it over just because I wanted this almost like tassel like feeling on the outside. Kind of gives it a little bit of luxury on the outside. I guess I could make that into a tassel if I sort of tied that and then cut the edges. I could make that into a tassel, but I'm not going to. I like it as the double knotted bow that it is. I've used a lot, and this is why I kind of wanted to do this at this time of year, because it could have a Christmassy feel. It's not Christmassy at all. It was made in the summer, but when I was making it, I was like, oh, it kind of like is like gingerbread, and that's because of the craft paper and then my white gel pens that I kind of was really into at the time. So it's got white gel pen. I'm still into my white gel pen, but you know, I was really embracing it. So here we go. So this is the outside of a coffee cup holder. I've got lots of them. I was given some cups for a project in my previous job from Costa, which is a coffee shop in the UK, and I didn't need the sleeves. In fact, the sleeves got in the way of the project that I needed from, but I didn't want to throw them away, so they ended up coming home, and here they are. They're being used, and they're used in all kinds of ways. And then I've got bits from magazine that I've stuck onto the back of vintage book pages. This is like from a supermarket magazine that's got some flowers, so it's not, you know, nothing's very specialised. This is from a craft magazine. I've got bits that have stuck themselves together. This is a beautiful butterfly. I think it might be a Prima by Designs butterfly, which is for furniture, but it's on, again, on vintage book page. Lots of things stamped on vintage book page that just sort of fill pockets and are interesting to look at. That's from a magazine, but the frame that it's in is a Tim Holtz stamp that's stamped onto some vintage book page that's had the frame cut out of it. So it sort of made a frame for the little bit from the magazine just makes it look different. And then this, and there's all the fairies. I've made some paper fairies. I like to make paper fairies. There are going to be some paper fairies, I think, in our future, but I will need to print some things out, I think. I don't think I'll be able to stamp them. I'll have a think. Some Christmassy ones. So I'm going to like go onto the Graphics Fairy and find some Christmas ladies and make some paper fairies that way. I've got some ideas. Anywho, so this little person is from a vintage book, and they're all the black and white images that I wouldn't know really what to do, and then I decided to make paper fairies from it, and she looks quite lovely. So let's fill that pocket back up, and then we'll move on to this page. Oh, and by the way, this is more napkin. I had somebody comments about these things. They're not what I've painted. They are napkin that's been backed onto vintage book page and then cut out, and it has that lovely sort of watercolour but onto a vintage book page. If you can't watercolour, that's the best way to do it. I'd like to learn how to do that, so I might like apply myself to do that when I get some time and some space. And I think I probably could. So this is a page from a magazine that had a card layout, and I've just ripped it out and highlighted it with white marker. So the home is where the heart is, and then I've put some like little white gel pen stars, and then these are my little vintage fairies with butterflies that are stamped butterflies onto book page, and it just made a really nice little vignette. So we've got a napkin bird. This is from a magazine, one of the little vintage ladies. So the images were painstakingly cut out. There was like kind of like an image with lots of people on, and I would just like snip around them to make all of these fairies from various different stories. I would say circa like 1920s, might be before, with the style of the dress is kind of like 19-teens, 1920s. So yeah, these are more napkin birds. I'll use a theme. These napkins come from a local supermarket chain called Tesco, and you get them for £1.50 a pack. They're made quite locally, so they're not coming from very far. When I say locally, I mean within the European Union, so that, you know, because we're a small island, we don't actually produce a lot, which is very sad, but, you know, it is what it is. But it's not, you know, from the Far East or anything like that. It's got good air miles on it. I suppose that's what I'm saying. I've got another little paper fairy that's actually stuck down, so I can't take her out. No, she's stuck down properly. And this is a pocket. And it's the natural pocket made from... Is it? No, it's not. I've made it from 2 pages. There are some bits that have got natural pockets in them. But yeah, there's a pocket. Another little bit, magazine, little fairy from the books. You can see like there's a lot of drop waist, so that's what it makes me think it's sort of like late 19-teens, 20s. And then I've got these curious little fairies that I've cut out. More images from magazines and napkins and the little bits of white marker. Same thing, Dream of Art from magazines. And they're mostly craft magazines. And I actually think some of these magazines are magazines that I've purchased new, and these types that are on sort of more matte paper I get from, again, a local supermarket. Tesco has some charity shelves that are fantastic. So they're pennies per book, and I've had some amazing things from those shelves. So this says crafting really helps me to switch off from everything going on in my life. It also helps my mental health, which is very true. So that's why I've put that in. Crafting is a great stress reliever, and it's a great sort of way of getting your head into your hands. Yeah. She looks quite anxious, so I think that's why I've added that there. I love these little, this is from a magazine again. We could replicate that though, because I do have lots of stamps that are houses. I like that she sort of was standing, but I thought she'd look quite dynamic flying. And then around the edge there's just more white marker with a little bit of red. There's some red on these bits as well. There's just a fine marker. This is a tag. It's vintage book page. Then I think that's cereal packet. Bit of magazine. And then this is one of those paper fairies from the old children's book. I could say antique because I'm pretty sure that it was about 100 years old. This is just a snippet from a book that's all like a cross-stitch book that I got for free actually. So there we go, we've got Make-A-Wish and one of the little fairies that's from that children's book as well. And more magazine images. The purpose of art is washing the dust of daily life off our souls. That's very true. So we've got a little paper angel, little paper fairy, and a paper napkin bird, and then lots of stars, and just stars and little dots. So the little dots are really, I saw them on illuminated text, which is like medieval text before the printing press, when books were painstakingly written by monks basically, and they would decorate bits with using these little dots, and that's, I kind of incorporated that. Not so much the stars. I think the stars are just everybody does little line stars, don't they? It's a nice centre spread. I think, is that a pocket? No, I think I stuck it down, but it could have been a pocket. This is a pocket with another napkin bird. This is a tag made from a magazine image that's been put onto a bit of vintage book page, and then another one of those little paper fairies. And then we've got some images from vintage gardening books made to look like Polaroids just by the way I trimmed them out. And if I'd probably thought about it, I should have backed them in some, you know, in some plain paper. But they're just sort of fillers for in the background of this. They've kind of got similar, the acidy yellow and then the purpley pink. There we go. This is something that was a mass make. I've used it in lots of, you know, because I had lots of them, so they get put in. I think they actually might be in some of the advent calendars, just because they're really pretty. I've added, so this is an extra, another little paper fairy, and it is a pocket. So in there I've got a paper fairy. These are ones that have not made into the main journal, but that gives you an indication of what they look like before they were trimmed out. And then look at him. Oh, he's having a rest. Why not? So we'll flip over. We've got a tuxedo pocket that's been like overlaid with the napkins that have been stuck onto book page. Another little chap here. He's very cute with some wings. We've got tags that have got butterflies on them. So this is just like one stamped overlaid to make like a ticket in a line. You could go as long as you wanted with that. That's how you would make your own tickets. They've all got little butterflies on the top as a way to pull in the tags out. I really like that idea. I'll remember that. I've got another little fairy playing with her dollies. So cute. A little row of houses with one of those fairies. I've got a bee, so it says be kind, and then I've got another bee here. And the little heart, it's not, probably you won't be able to pick up on the camera, it says be happy. So we've got through arch you find yourself, you are loved. So this writing actually I've highlighted in, because it was written in black, I've highlighted it in my white marker, and so it's kind of taken on a different, like here, the way there's extra lines and stuff. That's not in the original writing. I've used white highlighter around this as well, just to bring things out. The thing about using magazine images is they can be quite flat, so you know, but you can do things like that which make these bits pop. You just add bits on. So using the red, I've added a teal butterfly wings for another little paper fairy. this came together very quickly because, like I said, I was just pulling from boxes, and I wanted to see how quickly one of these would come together, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I remember it was a very quick time, but I was completely engrossed by it. I think I was gearing myself up for Junk Journal July because it was kind of pre-Junk Journal July, really. It's got some more little paper fairies, one with an umbrella, just a snippet of today, adventures, more of these napkin flowers, butterfly breeze. This is another one of those Prima by Designs butterflies, and another one of the little paper fairies. And then I've kind of doubled them over, so it's just because the nature of the stamp, you can do that. You can sort of make a double-sided butterfly. Love's Dream, and then a little paper fairy. So this one, what I've done is I've carefully cut a hole so that the wings are actually sort of slotted in behind her, because there's still the chair. I wonder if I'll be able to pick it up and you'd see the chair behind. Can you see? Just to sort of add that little bit of extra dimension to it. She's sat in a chair. So all these are napkin flowers. Again, the use of the white pen, just highlighting. It's really lifted things off the page. So this is why I would like to do. I've got a gingerbread notions with that I think again wouldn't take that long to do actually. So yeah, so we've got stars and wonderful, and we've got the little boy's awake now. He looks like he's crying though. I'm sure that's just the sort of Art Nouveau. They look a little bit older, and actually the kind of paper's a little bit thinner, so they're probably a little bit older. Or younger. Not, he looks older. So on this side we've got a little pad with all the scraps I think that was left from the bag. In fact, the only bit of this bag I didn't use was the handles, so they all got used and incorporated into this little book. So that's probably just the little scrap bits left over. And then we've got another one of those birds that are napkins stuck onto the book page. This is an Anna Griffith stamp that is older than my daughter, and when everybody got into scrapbooking, I was always drawn to the vintage looking stuff, and I bought them, and then it never got used until I started junk journaling in 2010. So I held on to stuff for a long time, like 20 years. But there we go. Is what it is. It's all worth it now that I can reach for my stuff. So use your stash. If you're crafty in any way, you will have stuff to junk journal in. So this is a beautiful tag made from an image from a book page that has cross stitch on it. Those are good types of books that you can readily find in charity shops for pennies. You know, think out of the box when it comes to like the kind of books that you buy, because they're useful in so many different ways. I think I have to look back on my videos to see if I've done different type of useful books from charity shops. I know I've done book hauls, but I might not have done a what do I look for video. That might be worth in the new year. This is a bee that's again from a napkin from the same supermarket, Tesco. In the summer they had these bee ones that you got for one napkin. You got 4 bees because they were on each of the corners, and it's stuck onto book page and snipped out and made a lovely, quite a substantial, doesn't feel like it's going to rip off bee that sort of holds on to that. So there we go. I really like this flip through, this journal, so I like the flip through. Yeah, I really like it. It was a fun one to make, and I can definitely, and this is one of the reasons I keep my journals unless I'm specifically making it for somebody else, is because I can look back and it sort of reminds me of things that I've done. And that's what journals are meant to do. They're meant to help you, well, for me, I'm not going to say that for everybody, but for me, a journal helps me to process thoughts and feelings. The actual action of it helps me to do that washing that dirt off your soul kind of thing for your mental health. But also then my reflecting back on it helps me to just improve my practice. And it's definitely going to inspire me to do something Christmassy that hopefully will be quite quick and not arduous, and will be something that I feel like I've achieved. So there we go. What are you going to make? What journals do you have on the go? Let me know. I would love it. If you're not subscribed and you've lasted this far, thank you very much. Please like, subscribe and comment. Not necessarily in that order, but all those 3 little things, hitting that little bell when you subscribe lets you know when I will be putting another video out. I try to put around 4 or 5 videos a week out. It's more like 4 at the moment. Beforehand I was doing them every single day from July, but I got COVID and now I'm just like a tired old lady, but that's okay. So Sundays are always a slow stitch, and then generally everything else is junk journaling. But there we go. I'd love to chat in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me, have you done something similar? Have you made a journal from a paper bag? Let me know. Alright then, everybody. Have a good day, evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you watch this. And I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.